Generational wealth, public health, and societal stability all share one incredibly important common starting point: a high-quality education. In 2009, India passed the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, legally transforming that starting point from a private goal into an enforceable human right. This diagram shows how Section 12(1)(c) functions. It mandates that every private unaided school reserve 25% of their entry-level seats exclusively for children from disadvantaged backgrounds. To ensure access, the government directly reimburses the private schools for these seats. For the parents, the cost of tuition is zero. Section 12(1)(c) was designed to integrate classrooms by law, allowing the poorest children to utilize the same educational tools as the wealthiest. But despite hundreds of millions of rupees allocated to this program every year, the data shows a vastly different reality. This is the admission trend for the RTE quota in Karnataka. Since 2019, entry-level admissions dropped by 98.87%, falling from over 116,000 students to just over 1,300 in 5 years. In districts like Bangalore North, not a single private school has admitted a student under the RTE quota for the last 2 academic cycles. Yet the state's financial commitment remains. The government continues to budget approximately 200 crore rupees annually for RTE reimbursements, even as the seats remain completely unoccupied. Every year, over 100,000 children are losing their legal path to these private classrooms, even though the right is still technically on the books. On paper, the system is designed to be streamlined. Parents gather their income certificates, birth records, and residence proof. They apply through a state portal between February and May, listing their preferred neighborhood schools in order of priority. To prevent corruption, seats are distributed through a digital lottery. This flowchart shows the randomized process. Application data is processed through a computer that assigns students to slots based on available capacity and distance. Because the portal uses a verifiable randomized system, the 98% drop in admissions is not the result of a technical glitch, it is the result of a policy change. The collapse began with a specific 2019 amendment to Karnataka's RTE rules. This map illustrates the 1-kilometer rule. A private school is exempt from taking RTE students if a government school exists within 1 kilometer. Since most urban neighborhoods already have one, this rule removed thousands of private seats from the system. This pushes vulnerable students back into the specific government facilities the RTE Act was meant to give them an alternative to. In 2024, Maharashtra adopted the same 1-kilometer exemption, extending this model to one of the largest school systems in the country. State governments are creating local rules that effectively override federal law, narrowing the path to education without repealing the act itself. The legal system is starting to respond. The Supreme Court of India has recently directed states to strictly enforce the 25% quota and improve transparency in the application process. This judicial oversight is forcing state education departments to reconsider the rules that triggered the admission drop. In Karnataka, the State Education Policy Panel is currently reviewing whether to withdraw the 1-kilometer rule and return to the original 2009 mandate. The system corrects itself when public scrutiny and court orders force state governments to follow the spirit of the law. Until these rules are permanently reversed, the responsibility falls on parents to act within the existing windows and meet every documentation requirement. Securing income certificates and address proofs before the portal opens in January is the only practical way to ensure an application is processed. Creating a healthy and wealthy community requires us to ensure that bureaucratic hurdles do not block access for those who need it most. Subscribe to 369 Samruddhi Success to join our work in advocating for health, wealth, and happiness for everyone. Share this video. Spreading this information gives a parent the specific tools they need to secure their child's place in a classroom this year.